the Dominican Fathers of Rwanda. Assumption as an ascension to the love of God. We celebrated solemnity of Assumption, the elevation of the Virgin Mary to heaven. Assumption is the truth of our faith. No one ever saw Mary ascending to heaven. Besides, heaven is not up there, but a place where God is present. The assumption means that Mary is where God, our Father, is present. What made this elevation of Mary possible is her capacity for relationship. The Gospel presents Mary as a woman of relationship with her neighbor, and relationship with God. In her human relationship, Mary went to visit her cousin Elizabeth and stayed with her for 3 months. 3 means the fullness of the divine nature, the trinity, but also heaven, earth, and under the earth. 3 is therefore a perfect number. 1 alone runs the risk of loneliness. 2 runs the risk of tension. In 3, there is neither loneliness nor tension. It is the symbol of perfect life. The most perfect life is the life of love, the life in which we love and are loved. The hallmark of the Trinity is love. The Assumption is therefore the ascension to the perfect love of God. It is this kind of love that Mary showed to Elizabeth, but also to all humanity in heaven, on earth, and under the earth. Mary visited Elizabeth when she was pregnant. People need more caring love when they are in challenging situations. This is what Mary did for Elizabeth. She did the same for us when we were enslaved by sin. Mary gave herself completely to God so that a Savior, Jesus, might be born to us. Here is her relationship with God. She knew when God needed her. She understood what God wanted from her, and she said yes. In Mary's relationship with God, we find the virtue of humility. Humble people listen better and easily become friends with others. Mary was humble enough to be God's daring friend. God became her ultimate and intimate friend so that the man God, Jesus, may be born to unite humanity and divinity in us. Mary's humility is better expressed in the Gospel. Mary speaks of the greatness of God, her Lord, but she speaks of herself as a humble servant. She speaks of God as the Almighty who works wonders, but she speaks of herself as one who fears God and relies on God's love. She speaks of God as the one who deploys the strength of his arm and disperses the spark. But she speaks of herself as the humble who has been raised up. She speaks of God as one who feeds the hungry and feeds them with good things. But she speaks of herself as a poor who has been enriched and invites the rich to realize that true wealth comes from God. Because of her humility, God exalted her to the extent that henceforth all ages will call her blessed. The assumption by which we are invited to lift up our hearts to the Lord passes through humility. In Islam, Muslims give Mary a prominent place among the women who have played a major role in the history of salvation. They believe that Mary is the greatest and the most perfect woman that all other women should imitate because of her humility. This evocation of the place of Mary among Muslims prompts Christianity and Islam to a permanent dialogue. It invites Christians and Muslims to always imitate Mary as a model of holiness. Let us ask God to give us the Spirit of His Son to foster in us the thirst of holiness in our ascent to God's love. Happy Assumption Feast.